Hi guys, Dr. Tony Rose here from Chiropractic Masterclass events, and we've got a wonderful communication masterclass coming up in July. That's July 5th in Sydney and July 12th in Melbourne. And we're blessed to have two wonderful speakers. We've got Dr. Russ Rosen coming out from Hawaii, talking about communicating one-on-one with our patients. And then we've got Carren Smith, who's going to be joining us to deliver on how we can communicate one-to-many and taking our messages to the masses. And Carren, one question I've got for you today is, we'll give it to you. What are the biggest mistakes that presenters make?
Oh, wow. Okay, well now that's a big question, and that's a really loaded question. Have you got your notepad and pen ready?
I'm ready.
Because these are the things that we're really going to tackle in the masterclass.
Great.
That, I can teach anybody to present, and I can teach anybody to take their story and their product or their service out to the marketplace. But there are absolutely some key criteria that we have to nail in order to be compelling and in order to be memorable. And that's ultimately what we're going for. So the first mistake and the biggest mistake that I see presenters make is they don't have a structure. They get up on stage and they're an expert and they're passionate about what they know. There's no mistake about that. But when they get up on stage and they start sharing what they know, it's all over the place. And there's no structure to it that allows the audience to be able to listen based on their own personal learning style. We all have different ways of listening, and we all have different ways of remembering. And unless the presenter and the speaker actually speaks inside of that, we can't move them. We can't create a memorable presentation. So waffling, massive. Huge, huge, huge big issue that I see. And it's the number one biggest mistake. No structure. Yep, you got it. Words for the sake of words never works. The number two biggest mistake that I make is it's almost counterintuitive to what I just said, but the second biggest mistake is most speakers get really hung up on the words. They get really hung up on making sure that they say specific things, and then they spend more time thinking about what they want to say than engaging with the audience. And here's a fact, Tony, here's a fact. Only 7% of our communication occurs in our words. So only 7% occurs in our words. So we're so hung up on what we're saying and trying to remember a script that we've written down that we forget to engage with the audience, and it's the experience that the audience is going to take away with them, not the words, because they're only hearing 7%. So they'll never remember word for word. So that's the second biggest mistake that I see, because when we're not engaged with the audience, then the audience doesn't get transformed by us, and they don't dive deep into our story and into the actual meaning and purpose of the presentation. So I'm going to talk all about how our chiropractors can do that at the masterclass, how they can get away from the words and into being memorable. And the third biggest mistake that I see speakers make is they don't speak. They just don't speak.
Presenters that don't present. Oh my God.
They just don't do it because they're so scared. They've got so much mental clutter in the way of their own ability to do it that it holds them back. I've trained, I think since I've started working with chiropractors, I've trained probably, maybe 150 of you guys now. And oh my goodness, your message and what you know is so potent and so powerful. But if you don't get out there and you don't start making a difference with it, then it almost kind of loses its purpose, because it's just confined to what goes on inside of the practice, which is still awesome. But there's a whole world outside of those doors that's just desperate for what you guys know.
Yeah.
So not doing it, give it the old big fat Nike tick. Just do it, but learn how to do it properly. It's taken me a long time to finesse the art of speaking, and I'm going to share that all in the masterclass. So it's worth coming along to find out how I've taken 9 years worth of experience and over 1,500 presentations and condensed it into a short little masterclass. You don't want to miss it, because when you learn how to speak, all the nerves go, all the lack of confidence goes. And the only reason that we feel so insecure on stage is because we don't feel like we know how. you know? So let me
Cool.
teach you how. Let me show you how. And then you'll be able to stand on stage with confidence, power, peace, and real potency.
Wow. Well, I'll be there. You can teach me, and if anyone else watching this, gets inspired by Carren's message and wants to learn from a master, then get along to the Communication Masterclass coming up in July 5th in Sydney, July 12th in Melbourne. So go to chiropracticmasterclass.com, register now. Seats are limited, so you better get in quick and get to this wonderful event. Thank you so much, Carren, for sharing that, and I look forward to seeing you in July.
My pleasure. See you then.